Think about how many Washington quarters you've handled in your life. From the pocket change at a grocery store, to the quarters you feed into a vending machine, to the loose coins sitting in a jar at home. For most of us, these coins are nothing more than 25 cents. But what if I told you that some of those same quarters are secretly worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? That inside your pocket right now. There could be a hidden treasure disguised as an ordinary coin. The Washington quarter has been part of American life since 1932. It was originally designed to celebrate the 200th birthday of the nation's first president, George Washington, and it quickly became a permanent fixture in U.S. currency. Over the decades, billions of these coins have been struck, passing through countless hands and generations. But among those billions are a select few quarters that tell a very different story. Rare mintages, silver compositions, experimental planchets, and striking errors have turned certain Washington quarters into prized possessions that collectors are willing to pay a fortune to own. Now here's the exciting part. Many of these valuable quarters are not locked away in museums or hidden in the safes of wealthy collectors. Some are still out there, moving quietly through everyday circulation, waiting for someone with a sharp eye to spot them. A coin you might overlook today could turn out to be the very same one that sold at auction for thousands of dollars. In this video, we are going to uncover the most valuable Washington quarters that could still be hiding in circulation, from the legendary 1932D and 1932S quarters with their tiny mintages, to modern era coins, like the Wisconsin Extra Leaf quarter that shocked the coin world. These are the pieces that transform ordinary pocket change into life-changing discoveries. We'll explore why these quarters are so valuable, how they ended up in circulation, and how you can identify one if it ever lands in your hands. So before you spend that next quarter on a soda or slide it into a parking meter, take a closer look. You might just be holding a small fortune in the palm of your hand. Our journey begins with a coin that many collectors call the Holy Grail of Washington quarters, the 1932D. Imagine this. It's the very first year the Washington quarter was ever minted, created to honor the 200th birthday of America's first president. Billions of quarters would follow in the decades to come. But in 1932 something unusual happened. At the Denver Mint, production was unbelievably small. Only 436,800 coins were struck. To put that into perspective, that's just a tiny drop compared to the hundreds of millions made in later years. This makes the 1932D one of the lowest mintage coins in the entire Washington quarter series, and one of the most legendary. Collectors hunt for it relentlessly, because owning this coin means holding a piece of history. Even well-worn examples that have passed through countless hands are worth over $100 to $200, while nicer pieces quickly climb into the thousands. If you're lucky enough to find one in mint state, you could be looking at $10,000 or more. The 1932D quarter is not just rare, it's iconic. It's the coin that started it all. And finding one today in circulation would be like winning the lottery. For many collectors, it's not just a coin, it's a dream. Next on our list is the twin rarity of the 1932D, the 1932S Washington quarter. Just like the Denver Mint, the San Francisco Mint also produced a very limited number of quarters in that very first year of issue. In fact, only 408,000 coins were struck here, making it even rarer in mintage than the 1932D. The 1932S carries the same historical weight. It marks the birth of the Washington quarter series. But because so few were made, it has become one of the most coveted coins in American numismatics. Even heavily worn examples are worth well over $100, and higher grade pieces soar into the thousands. In mint state, collectors have paid $15,000 or more to secure this treasure. What makes the 1932S so fascinating is its reputation as a coin that almost never shows up in change today. For decades, collectors have pulled them from circulation, and now only a miracle could land one in your hands. Yet, that small chance keeps coin hunters checking their pocket change, hoping lightning might strike. Together, the 1932D and 1932S form the legendary pair that every serious Washington quarter collector dreams of owning. They're not just coins, They're keys to completing the set, and symbols of how scarcity can turn an ordinary quarter into an extraordinary fortune. The next coin on our list takes us to a turning point in American coinage history, the 1964 silver Washington quarter. For decades, quarters had been made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But in 1965, everything changed. Rising silver prices forced the US Mint to switch to the copper nickel clad coins we still use today. That makes 1964 the very last year the Washington quarter was struck in solid silver for circulation. Because of its silver content alone, every 1964 quarter is worth far more than face value. Even a heavily worn example has a melt value of about $4 to $5, simply because of the silver inside. But the real excitement comes with well-preserved coins and rare minting varieties. Collectors will pay premiums for high-grade examples. And pristine mint state 1964 quarters can sell for $50, $100, or even more. There are also special varieties from this year that send values soaring. One of the most famous is the 1964D double die obverse, where doubling can be seen on the inscriptions. Coins with this era have fetched hundreds and even thousands of dollars at auction. The 1964 silver quarter represents the end of an era, the last circulating quarter made of precious metal. For that reason, it holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. Finding one in circulation today is rare, but not impossible. And if you do, you're not just holding a quarter, you're holding a piece of American history. Now we move into the world of minting eras. And this one is nothing short of extraordinary. In 1970, the San Francisco Mint produced proof quarters with the S Mint mark. But by a twist of fate, a small number were mistakenly struck on Canadian coin planchets instead of US blanks. What came out of the mint is one of the most famous modern era coins ever discovered. At first glance, the 1970s era looks like a regular proof quarter. But when collectors studied it closely, they realized it wasn't struck on the proper US metal. This unusual mistake makes it incredibly rare and incredibly valuable. One of these coins stunned the coin world when it sold at auction for $35,000, and others have also reached five-figure prices. Imagine finding what looks like a normal quarter and learning it could pay for a brand new car. This coin proves just how exciting mint eras can be. The 1970s Canadian planchette era is not something you'll ever find in your pocket change, but it's a reminder that the mint is not perfect, and sometimes accidents create treasures worth a fortune. Our next coin takes us into the state quarter program, and this one created a storm among collectors when it was discovered. In 2004, the US Mint released the Wisconsin state quarter, featuring a cow, a wheel of cheese, and a stalk of corn on the reverse. At first glance, it looked like every other Wisconsin quarter, but sharp-eyed collectors noticed something unusual. On some coins, the corn stalk had an extra leaf. Two different varieties were found, one with the extra leaf pointing upwards, the high leaf, and one pointing downwards, the low leaf. No one knows for certain whether this was a deliberate engraving change or an accident at the mint, but the result was the same, a rare and valuable variety that instantly became one of the most famous modern quarter eras. Collectors rushed to check their change, and these coins began selling for huge premiums. Even circulated examples of the extra leaf quarters can bring $200 to $400, while uncirculated pieces have sold for over $1,000. Some of the highest graded examples have crossed into the several $1,000 range at auction. What makes the 2004D Wisconsin extra leaf quarter so fascinating is how ordinary it looks at first. To most people, it's just another state quarter. But to those who know where to look, it's a hidden treasure disguised in plain sight. That's why it remains one of the most exciting modern rarities in US coin collecting. Now let's step back to 1999, the very first year of the state quarter program. One of the earliest and most fascinating era coins came from Georgia. The Georgia state quarter features a peach at the center, surrounded by live oak sprigs, a proud symbol of the peach state. But here's the twist. Some Georgia quarters left the mint with serious striking mistakes. The most famous is the off-center strike error. where the entire design is misaligned, leaving part of the coin blank and the design shifted to one side. These dramatic errors are instantly recognizable and highly collectible. What makes these Georgia quarter errors even more valuable is their timing. Since 1999 was the very beginning of the state quarter program. Collectors were already saving these coins. That means error coins from this year became extremely desirable, almost like the first chapter of the state quarter error story. Depending on how far off center the strike is, prices can vary widely. Slight misalignments may sell for $50 to $100, but dramatic off-center examples, especially those showing a large blank portion of the coin, have been auctioned for $500 to over $1,000. This Georgia error quarter reminds us that sometimes mistakes turn into treasures. What was once a flawed coin is now one of the most sought-after state quarter errors in existence. And there you have it, some of the most valuable Washington quarters that are still out there in circulation. From the earliest silver issues of the 1930s to the modern state quarter errors that took collectors by surprise. Each of these coins proves that history, rarity, and even a tiny minting mistake can turn ordinary pocket change into a hidden fortune. The best part? Any one of these coins could still be sitting in your change jar, waiting to be discovered. That's the thrill of coin collecting. You never know when you might come across a piece of history worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So next time you get a quarter back in change, take a closer look. Who knows? You might just be holding a rare treasure that most people overlook. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of rare coins and valuable finds. And remember, every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth a fortune.